place.
Welcome back. It's been a brisk week on the markets front, not least thanks to Canal Plus making another stab at MultiChoice about 20 years after its first go.
Plus, is that how you say it?
Canal
Yes,
Plus.
Canal Plus.
I've been mispronouncing it. So I got questions.
Canal
I got
Plus.
questions. Lots of questions. Firstly, what about our 20% media rule? But they're already at 30%. So maybe MultiChoice isn't media. They're just a distributor and sport.
Yeah.
They're not a newspaper or anything.
They
like
don't control
Okay,
that.
so cool. But what about the French regulators? Because this will then give them all of Africa, basically, when you put the two together. Because Canal Plus has Francophone, and of course, MultiChoice has got Anglophone Africa. But then the really fun thing, what about Comcast? He's just spent billions tying up with Showmax. Do they come and offer 130?
No.
I don't think Comcast is interested.
They're not interested.
I mean, you make a very good point because there was a tie-up last year, so I don't know.
Yeah, so they're doing it through Peacock, which is Universal, which is Comcast, which is
Since you know
Showmax.
so much about history there, at one stage, didn't Richemont own Canal Plus? Yeah, go check
I
your
feel like
history
this
books.
is part of Remgro, not Richmond, Remgro.
Was it Rembrandt?
In
Rembrandt.
Venfen.
in the
Wasn't this
early-
part of...
No, it was in the early days. Richemont went for Canal Plus. You know, if you go and I'm trying to get. Listen, I'm
It
a
wasn't
bit
called
old.
Richmond then, isn't it?
No,
No, it was Rembrandt. But we're going to the 80s when Chris was setting up Mnet.
yes, that's it.
And
Go look.
Han went for Canal Plus.
Yeah.
I'm so
There were
excited.
a
I
lot
can
of
pronounce
things that went.
Anyway, is this a good thing for MultiChoice?
Yes.
Or MultiChoice shareholders? I mean, you're a MultiChoice shareholder, aren't you?
Well, forcefully so, yes, we are MultiChoice shareholders. I'm just glad that the share price is, it's going to go be exactly above the listing price. I mean,
Yeah,
wow, it was a tough couple of years trying to convince clients,
Hang in there.
MultiChoice, hang in there. It's been a tough one.
But you made the point that the share price didn't trade to where the offer
Yeah,
price is. Do
so
you think there is skepticism that the deal...
It's closing slowly, but
There's about a 14% discount. So now you've got your time of money. Let's say this is a one-year deal, which is 9%, which means there's a 5% chance the market says don't buy it at all. I think there's a bigger than 5 that it doesn't happen. I don't know. I just can't see the European regulators. So if you look at the US, their competition commission is very much, is this good for consumers? And if it is, don't matter. In Europe, they talk around, is it good for companies and the like? And the other broadcasters in Europe are going to be unhappy. Sky and all of those are going to...
I can't understand competition law in this particular case. What's wrong with it? Why are you going to stop it? What they're going to do is they're going to bring content to the whole of Africa, French content.
You have to look at the competitiveness.
They're not going to bring news. They're not going to bring or political news.
Well, you don't know that for sure.
They carry Sky and other...
I don't know. Sometimes we get too involved in law and legality and regulation. To me, this seems a very sensible, decent deal. And it takes MultiChoice out of the poo.
Well, it takes them away from us and the people who want to poke them.
But companies like
it gives them money. It gives them access to funds on which they can make content.
Eurofund.
Yeah, I'm saying proper.
They can stop buying
little
sports
E,
rights
not the
with
R.
euros instead of
So
rights.
competitors of Canal Plus, like all these telecoms that operate in
Path News.
Africa,
What's it?
Pathé.
Pathé News. Yeah.
that operate in the rest of Africa, they're gonna want to block this.
Yeah.
So it's keep that in mind.
You really do need to work on your accent and your accent aigu.
Yeah. Okay.
Hermes.
And then there was a big tech beauty parade, and Miss Universe has got to be Meta with its dividend and $50 billion share buyback. Meanwhile, Amazon had a pretty bumper holiday season, and the cloud is positively cumulonimbus. Apple's slowing, but not as much as feared, and Microsoft is making record bang. I mean, we knew tech was back, but tech is back.
Back.
I remember you asking me all the tough questions every quarter. Meta came with numbers when they were spending crazy on the metaverse.
They were down at what, $80 a share?
Correct, 90, I think. Yeah, and it was not looking pretty. And I was telling you that, the only person that should be worried about this, and they've got the entire net worth in the company, is Mark Zuckerberg. And it was him also who got us out of the dust, or out of the dumps. I'm very happy with with where the share price is, and like all good stories, I wish we had bought more. Yeah.
But is he still spending $10 billion a chop on Reality Labs?
He's still spending.
Well,
Yes, he's still spending.
I know, but the market 2 years ago, the market
Didn't like that.
hated
He
it.
hated the
Now
fact
the
that he
market
was
doesn't
spending.
care.
It doesn't care anymore. And, I think it's a net positive also for employees of Meta because they now have a dividend and all those share employee schemes that they get, they sort of pay themselves back. It gives you a bit of an edge in attracting the
best
top
talent.
talent. Yeah, because there's a cash component here where most of these companies don't pay a dividend. Google doesn't pay a dividend. Lots of these big companies, except for maybe Apple, and Nvidia also pays another tiny dividend.
Tiny
So,
one.
yeah, so those are the companies that I know
Didn't
that pay a
even
dividend.
go up to 2 decimal points. I got a dividend that was like $1.30 or something. I don't know.
There you
We
go.
had a question this week though on StockWatch, and David was on the show asking, don't you have companies reverting to the mean? So companies run away from themselves. Like if you look at Nvidia's share price performance or Tesla, whatever. And you were saying, not always. These are on a different
They
leg
keep
higher.
going on to
Depends what the
different
mean is.
platforms.
The Nvidia
Yeah.
mean might be
I know,
7,000,
that's-
not 700.
I know.
They're
I know.
reverting to the mean by
What-
going up.
I think what the viewer was saying, that somewhere in the distant future they're going to find some competition. Yes,
Yeah.
Yes.
but you can get out by then.
And that stock
people
could be
forget.
10x by then.
I know, but Simon, people forget the stock market. You press a button and you're out. You wake up in the morning and say, I don't like
It's not
it, you
6
sell.
months like a
Yeah,
property.
Yeah.
Or 6
True
years like
that.
a piece of art. On the bankruptcy front, it's been a busy week too. Evergrande with $300 billion in debts, and little old Ellie's now in business rescue, not to mention the footnote for Basil Reed, which is heading off the JSE. So I realise Ellie's and Basil Reed are tiny in the scale of Evergrande, but it's sad. I'm sad for Ellie's.
I'm not sad for Ellie's. Good riddance. I lost so much money on that company.
Don't make it personal.
It was 5,000.
You lost 5,000. Come on.
it was
you
the
can make that in Nvidia in the first 10 minutes of the.
It was a big lesson in investing. That's all.
There we go.
5,000 I didn't
School
have back then.
Now you
They
definitely.
should never have been on the market.
They shouldn't.
They were a wonderful,
They were one of those poor
small,
folks.
southern suburbs trading type company.
Yeah.
Eli Selkov was an electrician, and he was a lovely, lovely man with a lot of, and ahead of his time, and built up a great business. They weren't a public
They were
company.
one of the largest CCs, closed corporations. That's why they had to go.
That's how they should
There
be
are
stayed.
a lot of companies,
Yeah.
with respect to Noah Greenhill, who regret the day that they met him.
Yeah, that's a problem. I always warn people about those investment bankers with fancy accents and in pinstripe suits. Avoid them, and if they come with a laptop as well, and look at the car they're driving, So when they come with those Oxford, Cambridge accents, just run away from them. Offering you, making you go public, and that just close the door on them. In fact, I wrote in my article this morning.
I saw that.
I started to go through the list. It just gave me nightmares about how much money our corporates have lost.
And also from that listing boom, the only one that worked is Afrimat.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
they were clever.
Oh, the
Yeah, there's
06,
pretty much
07.
nothing.
Robex also
That out-
survived.
The 2007
Yeah.
construction,
Yeah.
what was it,
Well,
2007?
it was more than
Was
06 or 07.
construction
It
and
was an
developers.
Ltex. It was One Time. It was Ellie's.
There was even a developers index on the JC. There's no developers index.
There was a VC index.
No, but when
Ah,
we
really?
go through the companies that have lost money, like Ellie's, that went out, a lot went abroad. We can start at A and end at Z.
Okay, Evergrande, 300 billion. Is this a big? So firstly, this is a Hong Kong court, which is quite fun because China's got their own court. So I don't know, but
There's a bigger story there, about how the government's going to treat this.
about
will-
the government.
it's not
letting
just-
it
No,
go
but
down.
are they going to stand behind the 1.6 million or 1.6 million people who are owed properties? Are they going to stand behind them, or are they going to stand behind the bondholders who are foreign?
But remember, this is
They're
not.
going to stand behind the people.
Yeah,
No,
well,
This is Xi
there you
Jinping.
are.
Xi Jinping, common prosperity,
Yeah.
much more insular. If you look at a speech he made just ahead of Davos.
Common prosperity for
Yeah.
all.
And the thing with Xi Jinping is really easy. He tells you what he's going to do,
Yeah.
and then he does it.
So
Because
you're
he
a
doesn't
foreigner.
have,
My-
doesn't
my
have
issue-
voters. And
No, my issue is not that. It's not like what are they going to do with this one company is basically also a test study for the rest of the developers because
Yeah.
they're all going through the same problem.
yes,
It's
yes,
not
yes.
just Evergrande or Evergrande.
But you're not going to lend them money. If you're a foreigner, you're not going to send money into China.
Correct.
So that's the thing. So
Never
there's a lot of them and a lot
a lot
of
more dominoes.
and a lot of shareholders that are all just waiting to see what's going to happen to their monies.
I mean, is this a big domino that does dreadful things to the Chinese economy, or is it contained?
Well, the problem is that those poor 1.6 million They're not going to
And
protest.
that's just from
They're
Evergrande.
not going to come out.
There's a bigger story here as well, which was the small little towns like Vereeniging equivalent in China. They got their money by selling land to the Evergrandes. They've now lost that money. So it's a ripple through all shades, which is why I think it's so seismic that the Chinese government has let it go. I also think it's important that this was Hong Kong and the Chinese legal system
Still
are
figuring it
separate.
out.
So who knows?
Remember, this is property, and we've always been told that it's backed by bricks and mortar. Let's see what happens.
Well, there were no bricks and mortar this time. We Buy Cars is coming of age too with the planned separation from parent transaction capital. Will the old parts of the business get any bids at all? So the old parts still got Newton. Why are they listing?
Because they have to.
Okay, but then
They
they've
have
got
to unbundle.
We Buy
But
Cars,
you know
they've
what?
got Newton.
I want you to value second-hand cars for me. Okay. In other words, when you go into the parking lot, and you go see millions of cars, go give me a value on those.
Well, I can tell you, I know what a sort of Suzuki Swift Churka 70,000
sell
Ks
it?
on the clock. I'm trying to buy one. I
What's the value of that?
It's
139,000.
hard enough for Tonga to try and value sugarcane in the ground. Try and value a second-hand car.
No, but
I've
what
got a
management
secret
is telling
formula
us
for
by
valuing cars. I'll tell you after.
no, what management is telling us or signaling to us by trying to unbundle this asset is this asset is valued way more than when it's in the group. So let's send it to the market.
but
So
then-
don't throw peanuts or whatever at it
But
just
then,
now.
Brian, I agree with you. But,
But let's see what happens
What
after.
about Newton? Because We Buy made 600 million, Newton made 400
They're gonna
million.
give
Are they
you a
gonna list
value.
Newton?
Well, no, Newton is going to be part of.
Well, Newton is going to try.
They list that and they just leave the wreck in the middle.
What I'm trying to get at is they're going to unbundle this.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to try and value all those second-hand cars. Thousands and thousands that... Sorry, I know you want to move on.
7,495 of them.
I want to get to our quirk.
Okay,
Okay, we'll pick this up next week, shall we?
Yes.
when it lists.
And finally, dubbed the lasagna of the seas, we now have hit peak humanity, and it's all downhill thanks to the launch of the largest ever cruise ship this week. The Icon of the Seas, as it's called, set sail from Miami, or $2 billion of it, with 2,350 crew and potential for 7,600 guests. Some more water slides than you can shake a stick at. Where's the iceberg when you need it? That thing, being a pandemic or a diarrhea outbreak,
this
is
is
going
an
to be...
Ozempic special. Yeah.
I just think lasagna, the word lasagna or someone's safety word created that thing.
Yes, but it didn't work and they went ahead with it anyway. Nightmare, I tell you. And we shall leave it there. David Bright, thanks for joining us. That was the week that was. Have a good evening and a great weekend.